Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. This is Miranda the Great live from the Lincoln Memorial for the People's March, which is the successor to the famous or infamous, depending on who you're asking, Women's March from 2017. And that was one of the largest protests in U.S. history, so I'm here covering the inauguration weekend, so I thought, hey, what the hell? We might as well see what the pulse of the Trump opposition is looking like. So this is a successor event to the Women's March in 2017. By any chance, were you there back then?
No.
In 2017?
Yes, I was. No, I was not.
I absolutely was, yes.
No, I was not. I wanted to, but I'm here now, making up for it.
No service section on first protest.
I absolutely was. In fact, I'm wearing one of those shirts right now. It's just kind of buried underneath here.
I was not there in 2017 because I was working and I couldn't get off from work. But however, I'm here with my daughter. I think this is the most important time in history for women. I would not have missed today for anything. I have been writing congressmen every day because I'm concerned about all of the working families in America. We are what make up the heart of this country. These billionaires and politicians don't have a clue. They talk about all of the immigrants. We're a country of immigrants. My family came here. The fact that they say things that are so hateful, mean, for no reason. Why would we want to get rid of immigrants? They are here, hardworking people, anyone I've ever met. I don't understand why they think they can control our health care, our Social Security, every aspect of our life. The things that they need to be working on, they're not working on. In fact, they don't even understand them. The American families are suffering at great length because they can't afford groceries, they can't afford, car payments, their credit card bills are out the roof and nobody does anything about 35% interest on credit cards. There's so many issues that these people are making millions of dollars. All of their dirty bastards, all of them, they all take money from these lobbyists. They all come in making $174,000 a year. They all leave multimillionaires. I'm not interested in what they do because what they do isn't about our country. I'm tired every day of fighting this because I look around and what I see in America is still good people. And I still have good neighbors. I try to be a good neighbor. I try to be a good person. And it just breaks my heart, that we have to endure this and that we have to even be here having these conversations today. Completely ridiculous.
You obviously heard/read like how large it was and everything. And
Yeah, my mom was there.
what do you think the vibe/energy is here, like the enthusiasm compared to that one back then?
I think the people united will be better than if people divided.
So, like, do you think it's as large as back then, or do you think?
It's not, but it's still a lot of people.
Why do you think that it's not as large as back then?
I don't know.
It's honestly great that people are even still coming, right? What happened in the election was a massive blow to morale for the entire movement, and I think it's beautiful that it's not 500,000 people, right? But it is beautiful that so many people came.
I think we're just as angry, if not angrier. The power's here, everyone's fighting. So everyone's voices are trying to be heard.
I was at school during the time, so I have no idea. I really want to learn about it though.
No, it was.
I think there's a lot to compare. There's a lot of differences. There's a motivation. The events are similar, but the time period definitely make a change and an impact.
The energy is a little more subdued, but we are committed and persevering. I wanted to make a statement in 2017, and Donald Trump could hear us from his White House the first day in office. He could hear us roar from one end of the mall all the way to here. It was just like a wave of women roaring.
Why do you think it's a little bit more subdued this time around, you would say?
Because there's less of us, it's cold, because most of us are retrenching, and there's marches going on in every city, and my town in South Carolina as well. No, we are just moving locally and going to do more local and regional activity is what I think is happening.
I'm glad the men are here, I will say that. That brings a kind of different energy, and I think there's more issues that are brought to the table today than were brought to the table last time. I think we have a lot more diversity of concerns.
How would you characterize the state of the opposition to Trump currently?
I can only speak for myself. I wasn't very happy when the results came, and I took an entire day of mourning, and then I did this. I realized that it is my job to do something about this. So I'm ready. We're getting organized, we're getting started. There's going to be a lot of work for us to do, but we're ready. We're going to do it.
Would you say that the opposition to Trump right now is a little bit more fractured, weaker than 2017, or you would say that's more of a mirage? Like, what would you say to the people who say that?
I don't know what I would say. I think that there are a lot of people who don't like what he's saying, but there are also a lot of people who do.
Why do you think that Democrats lost in 2024?
I don't know. I don't know if we weren't aggressive enough or we didn't fight hard enough. I don't know. I think we have to get angry at this point.
I think the Democrats lost in 2024. Obviously, you can say ignorance. Obviously, you can say it's because she was a black woman. I think that the Democrats lost in 2024 because people don't care. After the pandemic, everyone was locked in their houses. It had an effect on people's mental health, and I feel like people don't have as much of a reason to care anymore. Trump in 2020 got about the same amount of votes he got in 2024. It's just that people didn't vote for Kamala.
I have no idea. It's a mystery, isn't it? Like, I think there was a lot of misinformation. Some of the people that I speak to that voted the other way really were unaware of a lot of things about that administration and what it was going to do to our country. I mean, we've given away our democracy in this last election. We absolutely gave it away. And I think a lot of people are just not aware of that.
Oh, that's a really good question. A lot of reasons. Foreign policy, people are really scared about really valid terrorist threats, and I think that, all issues can be addressed at once, women's rights, terrorism, whatever. But if it came down to prioritizing things, yes, I do care about the border and my family's safety more than whether I can get an abortion in Utah.
Right now I'm thinking the main cause could be education, people knowing the truth, the transparency. Marketing for saying one thing is good or bad, right? You get attention, but many people get to vote for people that they look and see they are familiar to, right? But they need to do some research and know more about it. And that information needs to be more public, easy access in any language for people to understand.
Give more power to the people.
What do you think the opposition from 2021 to 2024 failed to do that you think is absolutely crucial that they do in the next 4 years to ensure that Republican doesn't win again in 2028?
Well, I think honestly that President Biden was a fabulous public servant for 50 years, but unfortunately he grew old, as we all do. He lost some capacities. Instead of stepping down earlier when we probably could have made an impact, I believe Kamala could have won, and certainly half of America by the popular vote voted for Kamala Harris. So, the fact that they act like it was a landslide, it wasn't a landslide. Half of America wanted to move on from the crap that we've been experiencing. So I think what we have to do is we have to focus on, what does it mean to have gerrymandering in all these states where they can control, like I'm from Ohio, one of 11 states where they have gerrymandering. The entire state goes red, except for one county that I live in, which is the Columbus, Ohio, Franklin County, but every other county in Ohio, because it's mostly rural, goes red. And these people are very ignorant. They don't understand. They believe what he says. And we all know he's a prolific liar. He is a narcissistic person. He doesn't care about anybody but himself and his billionaire friends. I don't give a F about Elon Musk, Squammy, how he says his name.
So what is something that you think the opposition has to do different this time around compared to the last 4 years so that another Republican doesn't win in 2028?
Well, I think one of the things that hurt the Democratic Party is that it fails to be the party of everyday people. I mean, unfortunately, they've got this reputation of being elitist and not caring about everyday issues, about how people put food on the table, how people, how safe people are in their public spaces. And I think that's something that I would really like to see the Democratic Party address more seriously in the future. It might help bring some people back.
Well, first of all, get a far better Attorney General than the paper tiger we've had to put up with, because he did next to nothing about.
Merrick Garland.
Yeah, exactly. And secondly, I think we need to take a more even approach to the Middle East situation. Israelis have a right to defend themselves, but so do the Palestinians. They are people too. They deserve their own homeland.
They're not doing a good job at reaching out to marginalized groups. People that feel like none of society gets it. They're there's so many people in this country that feel like nobody cares about them. They feel like Democrats just care about money. They feel like Republicans just care about themselves. There are a lot of people, many people at this crowd who didn't vote because they feel like nobody stands for them. Try to speak to, the poor, speak to these marginalized groups. That's all you can do. And don't, pander to them.
I think we need to have a strong candidate from the start. I think if we would have had a longer period with Kamala, then I think we could have supported more. But the waves she made in such a short period of time was amazing. So if we have a longer period, I can see it coming.
What is the thing that Trump could possibly do in his second presidency that concerns you the most, that keeps you the most up at night?
That's a long list. I think what concerns me is the human abuses that he'll inflict upon people, and also the damage, everlasting damage that he will do to the environment for the sake of profits.
I don't know. I think everything he's doing is scary.
The number one thing that he is already working on is our health care and taking away our benefits. He's also working on Social Security, and all people such as myself who have worked 45 years and paid into that system. It's not my fault that these politicians, that would be a totally solvent fund if they didn't take monies out of there to pay for things that they wanted to pay for. Why should we, after this much work, not get that benefit? We pay those taxes. That was taken out of our paycheck every day. So that's very scary because old people will not be able to afford to live. The people are on the verge of, not being able to maintain their houses, even be able to feed their families. I don't know what else it's going to take for people to get that. It's a very bad situation, the worst.
So much of the talk about weaponizing the National Guard against U.S. citizens, so much of what he said about Americans disturbs me, man. We have a person running the country that clearly hates the people in the country. It's not good. And I just worry for the people that are going to be victimized. I know he's all tough, most of the time. We saw this in 2016. He talked about building his wall. He got a fraction of it done. It's pathetic out there. But if he even does a fraction of what he's talking about with the military and using it on American citizens, we've got some hell to pay, man.
Every single thing, every decision he makes, every hateful, mean choice he makes is hurting people daily.
I think he's going to start rounding up people from their homes and taking away grandmothers who have been here 50 years, and he'll be deporting people who did not deserve to have that happen.
What is one thing that Trump could hypothetically do in the next 4 years that, would get credit from this crowd or from people like you, if anything?
That's a hard question.
Resigning, that's what.
I like that one, resigning, stepping down, actually caring about people.
I think he should resign.
Drop dead.
You know what, honestly, because I had a theory that this might happen in 2016, it didn't. If Trump ran on this platform of just hating everyone and then got into office and just flipped entirely, was like, hi, I got you guys to vote for me, and then did a bunch of socialist shit, that would be really cool.
How do you expect the people to react to his second presidency in the coming years?
Okay, let's just be frank, okay? I'm a person that has a master's degree, so I went to school, but many Americans do not have a higher education. They do not even understand the three, brackets of our government and how they are supposed to operate together. They don't understand that when we give over all of our power to these people without ever giving them any feedback, that they'll continue to do what they want to do. And that's what they're just taking over the world. He was really serious when he said he was going to become a dictator. That's what he's trying to do. And, President Biden talked about the oligarchy that's happening right now. People better wake up. People better wake up. If you're from another country, I've been to China to see what they have in terms of their rights compared to what we have. It's very sad. And I spent many nights writing to congressmen, senators, and local officials in my state. Now, a few have responded back. Bernie Sanders has responded back. A few females have responded back. But most of them, they just ignore me. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's not what we're paying you for. We're paying for you to represent us. We the people. Not you the people. We the people. We are not in this world alone. We need to take care of each other.
And why do you think a lot of Democratic senators or representatives and even titans of industry, especially in the tech sector, seemingly are bending the knee to Trump this time around compared to the first term?
Because our social media and news organizations have been failing in their duty to inform, and our social media companies are failing in their duty to fact check, so they're really literally allowing communications to be robbed by the very same robber barons who would kill the climate because they need another millionaire's ranch somewhere.
I think that there is a shift happening in our country towards him. It's very disappointing to see the people in my country turn to nationalism. And I think everyone is turning to him just because of the power he represents. He controls so much of our government right now. He controls our Supreme Court. And people are picking the winning side. That's really all it is. People like Elon Musk are always going to be opportunists. They care about who's in power. They care about making their money.
Genuinely, I don't know. I think it's a mistake, and it doesn't make any sense at all to me. I think they're afraid of him, and they shouldn't be.
Well, I think he's proven time and time again that if you're not on his team, that there are going to be pretty dire consequences. And if you are on his team, then you will have. I mean, if you care about making money and having your business be strong, then you do have to kiss the ring.
But
and also, this is a government by bullying. I mean, even people in power are afraid of the resources of the billionaires club to make their life difficult, to cost them money, to drag them into legal contests that they will spend millions of dollars on, and just for the sake of confusing them, weakening them.
Yeah, they don't want to stand up. There's a whole thing about standing up to power, especially corrupt power, especially evil power, especially power that's been very clear about what the consequences are to standing up to him.
Like when you see all of this stuff that's going on of shutting things down and driving people apart and all that, that's all based on this power of hate. That is the number one tool that they're using to stay in power, is by driving us apart, making us hate each other. Because hate is just another word for fear. People are afraid, and the only way to conquer fear and hate is through love. Learn to love your neighbor. Learn who your neighbors are. Love them, support them, and maybe they will love and support you also.
So you're a Trump supporter?
Yes.
And you're here. Well, what do you think of this?
I feel like there's a difference between a Trump voter and a Trump supporter.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Explain the difference.
Like, listen, I'm an Indian woman. There's nobody who would have loved an Indian woman running for president more than me. But she just wasn't she wasn't the better candidate.
Why do you think that is?
Well, for example, she ran on abortion, which everybody here is for. And that's just a states' rights issue. I don't think that women are losing their rights. I feel like people are acting like we're going to be sent to concentration camps. There is a lot of issues that women have to overcome. Like, for example, why did we get the Bob House? I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Explain for everyone watching the video.
It's a house of influencers on TikTok who are all my age, like 18 to 20, who bought this mansion together so they could do OnlyFans work together and promote it on TikTok. How did the US get that before a good female presidential candidate? It's ridiculous.
You're young, and there are a lot of young people who moved to Trump in the last election.
Yes.
Why do you think there were more young people who voted for Trump this time around than in 2020 or 2016?
Yeah, and might I add, I was a die-hard liberal. I thought that being a Republican meant you were a bad person, and I think that young people grew up on this social media climate that told them that. So when we realized that that actually wasn't true, and that was just a way to garner our votes, it made us really resentful towards the Democratic Party. I don't trust them anymore. And you shouldn't trust either party, but I feel a lot safer with what the Republican Party is becoming than what the Democratic Party is.
As a Trump supporter, being here for a couple of hours, do you think the opposition gets it, or do you think they still don't get it?
Oh no, I was standing with my sign, which I feel like is pretty pro-woman, and I had someone come up to me and start screaming at me that I need a 50-year-old white woman screaming at the brown girl to leave because the counter-protests are somewhere else. And listen, you're not going to get it unless you have an open mind. You're just not. And I don't have any hatred towards anybody here or liberals. I wish we could all come together and have productive conversations, because this isn't a blue-red issue, it's just a women's issue.
What is your biggest hope for the upcoming Trump presidency?
I hope that we can make our citizens love America again, because I think people think that when you loved your country, it means you can't criticize it. But both can be true at the same time. And for us to move forward on a path that Democrats and Republicans will both like, we all need to love our country instead of hating it.
What do you, since you're Puerto Rican like me, what do you expect Trump to do as it relates to Puerto Rico in the next 4 years?
What do I expect him to do? It's very difficult. It's very different than what I would like him to do. I hope that people support to do the right thing, to be fair, and treat everybody with respect, dignity, and with rights. Hopefully, he can understand that as well.
Why do you think that many Hispanics, which obviously include Puerto Ricans, moved to the right in the last election? I know that, you know, when Tony Hinchcliffe made that joke of the island of garbage, a lot of people thought that was going to really affect Trump with Puerto Ricans and Latinos, but he gained the most of a Republican in a while. So why do you, as someone from the Latino community, why do you think that is?
Well, I have seen some people that perhaps are still struggling with knowing English and finding the resources. What I'm hearing from other peers that also are Hispanic is the information they receive. Like I said, the marketing, see a familiar face, they vote for that face. And also I see a study where the Republican invest more in marketing and information and calling the attention. So perhaps putting those points together, I think is because the information was more visible, whatever information was that. And looking for the what is the behind, what is the meaning, more research about it, what's a little more cover up.
What do you think Democrats can do to get the margins they used to have with Latinos back in the next election?
Be more transparent, be more outspoken, make sure to represent all of us, represent all diverse environment for us to be more, okay, you remember about me, you think about me, oh, I can identify with you too, yes, I want you to represent me, to be my governor, to be my president.